Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Trenchless Technology Videocast. Today's discussion focuses on the Robbins small boring unit and highlights Engineer Construction Incorporated's use of an SBU-M to bore 3 drainage tunnels on the Middlebury Rail and Bridge project in Vermont. Joining me today are Joe Lechner, SBU Sales Manager at the Robbins Company, and Tom Loyer, Trenchless Technology's Market Director for Engineers Construction, Inc. Welcome, gentlemen, for our discussion today. As I mentioned, the focus is on the Robbins SBU, as well as the Middlebury Rail and Bridge project. So I guess we'll start with you, Joe. Can you kind of briefly give an overview of what the small boring unit, commonly referred to as the SBU, is?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. The Robbins small boring unit, or SBU, is a rock cutting attachment for pipe jacking or auger boring. It gives contractors the ability to use their existing equipment to cut rock, hard rock, or like mixed ground soils with their existing equipment. On ECI's project, we used a 60-inch motorized SBU. It cuts a 62-inch bore with new disc cutters. ECI had jacked 1-inch steel casing in 20-foot segments behind the motorized SBU. The motorized SBU gives a line of sight, a continuous line of sight without having to pull auger because it's removing spoil with an invert auger. Robbins offers size ranges of SBUs starting at 24-inch all the way in the almost 90-inch range. In the motorized SBUs, they're rated for around 500 feet of advance. And then our other product lines, such as the Rockhead, can go as far as 1,500 feet or further.
And the project that we're focusing on today, the Middlebury Rail and Bridge project, that project used an SBU-M. Tom, can you give a brief overview on the project and your company's role in the project?
Sure. We were a part of a construction team for this project. The project as a whole was a multi-year project that is now completed, but the portion we're talking about today is the trenchless piece. The owner of the project, Vermont Agency of Transportation, VTrans, called this piece of the work early work phase 3. Prior to getting to construction, we started planning in literally 2013, and we broke ground in 2018. There was a lot of things to consider: train traffic, rerouting trains, downtown concerns. It's a local shopping area for the town of Middlebury. So there was a lot of planning that went into it. When we ultimately got to the work, we selected the SBU primarily based on Joe's consultation throughout those years and leading up to it. We were dealing with varying ground conditions, and really the Robbins SBU-M was the best and only choice as far as equipment goes. We can talk, if you'd like, on product selection. We used a Permalock steel casing for these installs, but we did consider Hobus pipe as well as reinforced concrete jacking pipe, 1-pass and 2-pass systems. There's a lot of details that were researched to get us to this point.
You mentioned, some of the equipment, they use some of the products, things like that. What were some of the challenges that you faced, on the project, whether it be on the planning side or on the actual construction side?
Community involvement and buy-in to the project was substantial for sure, because there was a lot of interruption for a number of years. That was an upfront challenge that the owner selected a liaison to work with the community and put out daily blogs. So that was great information for the community. So that was kind of a relationship struggle or challenge, if you will. From a constructability challenge, we had to remove a building to make way for the jacking shaft that we call the central shaft, if you will. The rock was hard, but the Robbins machine performed exceptional, so we were good there. We did have some differing ground conditions that offered some challenges, but we knew that going into it. The owners really did a nice job on their GBR, their geotech report. They had a baseline report that was substantial. Joe looked at that ahead of time, so we didn't see a lot of surprises that came out of nowhere. A little bit on drive one, there was a small layer of soil that was, ultimately rather insignificant. We thought on our negative drive we might have some water drainage issues to the front of the tunnel, if you will, but that was handled at the jacking pit as well. So we were well prepared for most of the challenges, and really, I think all the pre-planning that went into it, as painstaking as it was for a number of years, in the end, really proved to be the way to go.
And looking again at the construction side of things, some of the challenges that you face there, how did you work with Robbins to get through those challenges, whether it be with, delivery of the machine or, like I said, actual construction?
Yeah, I think, kind of a generic answer to that question in the underground business, if you don't go into a project with plan B and C, at least in consideration, because the challenges come out of nowhere. And I think, again, going back to my prior answer, the early work that was done eliminated a lot of those things. Robbins really was not a supplier on this. They were an absolute partner on this project with us. And it just was really seamless. Everything went together quite nicely, for sure.
And how did the SBU-M perform on this job?
As anticipated, the first drive was a little bit slower, and then that really was more due to, I think, our crew's familiarity with the process, snapping the permalock together. Drive 2 and 3 went just much better just because of, they'd gone through it. So everything performed great. The project as a whole, these tunnels as a portion of the project overall came in about a month ahead of schedule.
Is there anything else, Tom, on your front that you'd like to add in here?
Just a little emphasis again on I think this is an important message for owners, engineers, cities, towns, everybody, of how important good cooperation is on these projects. They're high risk. There's a lot of attention to detail. There's a lot of unknowns that we deal with. And when you get a group together working as a team and really focused on the end result, it's really the only way to go in this business. I think Joe would agree.
When we got into this, all of the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted. And I mean, these guys really have their things together. But, I wish that it could go like this with other projects, right?
Exactly.
It's a difficult thing to find.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it benefits the owner in the end. And that's really what's most important. We all need to be concerned and considerate of budgets. But at the end of the day, we have to have a successful project that works. And when you can find situations to share risk, like this project allowed, we had a risk registry. For instance, Joe, I'll bring the cutters on board. So, simply put, the cutters are an expensive item. We had an extra set on hand where without this business model that we negotiated through, we would have charged that to the owner whether they needed it or not. But instead we had an agreement that literally
put them on consignment.
Yeah. I mean, here's the cutters. If we need them, they're on site. If we use them, you're going to get charged for them. If we don't, you're not going to get charged for them.
Yeah. So that way there's minimal shutdown time in the case that they did have to change cutters because they're pulling machine to go from bore to bore. Right. And so there's a lot of details like that that really go into play with this that helped it to work so well.
That's just one example of the cooperation. The risk registry included other items, but it allowed us to try to mitigate things ahead of time in a cost-effective approach where everybody was on the same page. And it really, this CMGC business model that was used here was a big part of the success of this project, for sure.
Great. Well, thank you both for your time today. I appreciate your input, and I'm sure the people that will watch this video also appreciate the input on this project and this product line.
Thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
I'd like to thank Joe Lechner at Robbins and Tom Loyer at Engineers Construction, Inc. for joining us on today's Trenchless Technology Videocast. I'd also like to thank Robbins for sponsoring today's video. If you want to learn more about the Robbins SBUs, check out the small boring machines section on the Robbins website at robbinstbm.com. I'd also like to thank all of you for watching today's video. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as the next video from Trenchless Technology is available. Cheers, everybody.